we can find our places. Okay, all right, good morning, board, good morning, members in attendance, good morning, management companies. Let's go ahead and, actually, before we start, I'm going to make a motion to add a line item to the new business section. It's going to be a motion, or it's going to be a presentation by the KPCPC, our Community Promotions Committee on Research and Development and coordinating with some universities in the area. I have a motion to add.
So moved.
Moved. Okay, any opposed? Okay, we'll add that to line item B. We'll add that to line item B. All right, let's go ahead and do a roll call.
President Setzer,
I am present and accounted for, and I'll step on Rick Massamay's exciting and dynamic answer in just a second.
Vice President Davidson,
Yes.
Secretary Kincaid, absent. Treasurer Hahn,
Present.
Director Hector,
Barely.
Director Massamay,
Present and ready to proceed with the president's wishes.
Director McGraw,
How can I possibly follow that?
Director Rizwali,
Happy to be not sick and present.
that's good. Director Ricketts,
Here.
Mr. President, you have a quorum.
All right, very good. I call the meeting to order. We'll stand and pledge allegiance. Do we have an open forum? The names? All right, very good. Then we'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is the approval of the February 7th draft minutes from the Federation Board meeting. Do I have a motion to accept it as posted? Moved. Any opposed?
Second.
Second. Any opposed? All right, all those in favor, we'll just post it as written, and if there's any corrections, we will handle that at that time. The next is approve the draft minutes for February 12th special Board of Directors meeting. Motion? Moved. Second?
Second.
Opposed? In favor? Got it. All right, this is posted, and if anybody has any questions or changes, we can make that. Let's move to our reports. Management report. Rick Doswell with First Service. We're getting started this morning.
Testing, live via satellite. Okay, that's a ring announce Ryan had me do that one just to make him feel good. The all Federation directors presently sitting on this board are current owners of condominium parcels and single-family dwellings in the district they represent within Kings Point. This was verified by myself through the Public Records of Hillsborough County Property Appraiser's Office yesterday. First Service Residential, we are continuing to process the annual meeting paperwork, such as the association's approved budgets, inputting those into the Connect accounting system, and monthly assessment coupons have been placed for member mailings to owners starting last week through the middle of this month. I want to thank everybody for those that attended, the board members for the condo and HOA board certification course on Monday the 24th, led by Webb Melton from Bush Ross. All board members who attended should have received a certificate which meets the Florida statute requirements. If you did not receive your certificate or you have any questions, please email, contact your community association manager. And again, thank you for everyone's participation. The Other highlights, OLM, they'll have their inspection March 23rd, 24th, and 25th. But I also want to thank everybody, and I won't step on Frank's announcement, but I will and say thank you for everybody that attended the meet and greet, the tree on the 27th, and then I'll semi-step on Dave's toes. I want to thank everybody for attending and participating in the POC landscape workshop. And more details can be followed by those committee chairs. The other item that we are continuing to do, and we talked about this last week on the POC workshop, the work orders for, if you're a board member, you got mentored and tutelaged into how to get into your Connect website to put in your work orders. And if you're a POC and not a board member, you get to put it into POC@fsresidential.com. So I've got that into my report to each one of the board, number of work orders for February by type. And about the same number of transfers. We had 37 last month, same number as last year, basically 79 versus 80. And leases are down from last year from 43 to 76. And continue for any emergencies.
Down or up? Down or up?
Wrong way.
Leases went down.
From 76 to 43.
76 was last year, 43 year to date this year. Went down. There was only 18 leases last month. So. And the other part, and I know you've heard this on the news and everything, very near to where I did most of my managing in Fairfield Lake, Tennessee, and we lived, raised our kids there. And my son, who's the golf pro at Fall Creek Falls, so if you see these pictures, we've got family that are there. And they're all okay, but they have had their lives turned upside down, backwards and forwards. And so our thoughts and prayers are with them. So saying all that, how important it is when you have an emergency to, if it's medical emergencies, you dial 911. If it's an emergency that we can handle here, Ginger and her team and us, dial 813-642-8990. 642-8990. And that will put you through. That's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And did you like that? Have a great month. Feel lucky. And I put the 4-leaf clover there. So.
Rick, I'm just going to ask you on the graphs you have for work orders and work orders by type. Now that we've been measuring that for some time, we have at least enough to look at a trend. Could there be a possibility you put together that in a comparison format so we can see where we started, where we trended out,
Yes.
and where we're at
Good
right now?
point. Very good. Yeah.
So that I think it'd be important.
I'll put that as a where we started June, or I guess we have July probably would be. Yeah. We'll do that. Good point, Ryan.
Very good, thank you. Thank you. And good luck to your family. I know people who went through Andrew will understand that we went through Andrew, so we understand it completely. Good?
Yep. Just wanted to know, we are still waiting on Vicki to come up with a jingle for that emergency phone number. Until then, we're going to keep using the Empire Carpet sing-song jingle up there. Okay, we'll get started here. The board has their report. I won't read all your numbers to you. The Winter Series is doing quite well. You can see there just over 7,500 tickets sold. We still have a show coming up here, Changes in Latitudes, and 2 more after that. So those numbers are terrific this year. It's an unusual year with all these shows at the end of the season here with 3 in March still to go. Fitness center usage up over prior February, and you can see your spa merchandise and sales there. We're just shy of the the fabled 1,000 services. We've only reached that number a couple of times since we've opened the spa, but it was still a very good month in February. The CA salon program actually was down a little bit in February, so that was interesting, but still holding strong there with 27 CA clients, which just add to the services we offer over there. Skipping over to your budgeted projects going on now in the North Clubhouse, the chair slider project is still in progress. 65 chairs so far. We did, for those who don't understand the comic relief up here, we had put some little silicone discs on the bottom, but they get so much usage and wear and tear that a lot of them kept coming off. So now they've got this supersonic glue they're trying to see if they'll stick. A women's locker room exhaust fan replacement was installed, a lot less humidity in there. It kind of resulted in a less musty smell in there as well. The upstairs flooring replacement in the 2020 center was delayed. The board asked us to look into putting some of the laminate flooring right at the entrance to that carpet in the entrance to culinary. We did get a couple prices back that it's a good suggestion, and we're gonna pursue that. It just a matter of tying into a different, laminate and making the transitions look so it's not a put together job there. It looks a little bit well thought out. So we're gonna get you a date on that. But the fitness floor project for the downstairs for the fitness center will be scheduled the week of May 18th. You can see in your security pass update there, over 14,000 passes given for February, and that will climb now in March with spring breakers coming in. And total decals issued for autos and golf carts, over 9,400. Finally, on notables, security received 2 calls from the residents complaining of solicitors in the neighborhoods. This is always an ongoing problem. After patrolling the area, the officers located 5 window improvement solicitors in the community. They found the ringleader, who said he was called in by a resident. So when he came in, he had a car full, and they just kind of got out and spread out in the neighborhood. And interesting to note, this just happened to be the same day as the hurricane preparedness seminar. So they see things like that posted, and they thought, hey, this is a good day that people might be concerned. And so kudos to the security team for those guys out and asking them to leave. Just bear with me, one more notice here. We all are super sensitive to the current outbreak of coronavirus. You can see these are up here on the table. Any of us that have allergies to pollen right now is, people don't want to talk here, come here. But with regard to this outbreak, which is now in the Tampa Bay area, Vesta is engaged in developing communication strategies as well as putting action plans in place for our operations to help protect the health and safety of our residents and guests. You may see notices posted online or in the clubhouse. You may see new signage. You may see more frequent placement of products like this, the hand sanitizers in the clubhouses. These notices and products are not meant to create fear, but rather intended as reminders and reinforcement of the recommended CDC and WHO guidelines to help reduce the spread of the viruses. We've met with local agencies, attorneys, insurance, and industry specialists, medical groups, etc., in an effort to gather as much as we can suggestions from the professionals to help develop our protocols, which are all going into this handy-dandy book because we've never had to do this before. While the best defense lies within each of us to properly wash our hands and be mindful of the environments we frequent, as your management company, we've initiated a number of initiatives with board support to try to protect your recreational areas as much as possible. We've increased the frequency of wiping down tables with bleach, the bathrooms, disinfecting keyboards in the cyberspaces, the handles and handrails on the trams, as well as the fitness centers. And we have employee policies in place requesting staff to stay home if they're experiencing any symptoms. In addition, we'll continue to monitor the situation to stay current with the latest developments. But this allows for a wide range of contingencies, up to and including special event cancellations, facility closings, and tram and route changes. While that is not anticipated at this time, if it does happen, we will be in close communication with your Federation board and make the call based upon the best information we have at the time. We will strive to communicate these disruptions as effectively as possible, but please, we ask in advance for your patience as residents of Kings Point, because any decisions for closures or changes, operational changes, will be made with an abundance of forethought and concern for the overall health and welfare of our community as a whole. However, to reiterate, we have not canceled any events nor closed any facilities at this time. If you plan on attending the upcoming garage sale and spring fling and any other of the dozen events going on in Kings Point in the next few weeks, have fun, but please stay at home if you're sick. We love you, but we want you to stay home if you're sick. Avoid touching your face and shaking hands. And in fact, I was telling Ryan with the upcoming Woodstock Festival, we are now reviving the peace sign as a greeting when you see people in the halls. You don't even have to do the fist bump thing, handshake, and just give people the peace sign. And please wash your hands a lot. We hope and pray we avoid the virus in our community, but if it does occur in our zip code, we want to be prepared.
Thank you. And don't rub your own face, and I assume don't rub anybody else's face either. So that's good. That's good. Thank you very much. We appreciate all your efforts and all your preparatory work that you're doing, and to get that on the TV and keep it out there, keep everybody conscious of it. We appreciate it very much. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Next on the, we have committee reports. I'll kind of start down at that end and just see what you guys have. Dan, anything to update anybody on?
I have nothing.
Microphone.
Oh, sorry. So I said, hello.
Nope.
Hello.
It's good. Hello.
That's what I said, I'm barely here, so. I have nothing from the contract committee, have nothing from anything else with the possible exception of insurance since Janice is not here. Our new insurance agents are working diligently to acquire policy information from a number of vendors that were not quoted in the last several years. We found a few items on the policies themselves that have brought some concern to us. They are working on pricing, and I'll be meeting with them after this meeting to see where we're at and what we're doing. Our prior agent would not give us our values for all of our properties, so that had to be recreated. So that took a day or two longer than we had anticipated, but we're on track now and we're moving along. I should have something more at the next meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Noreen, anything from? Sydney? All right, good. Rick?
Mr. President, I reserve my comments for under new business.
I always have reservations about you, Rick. No question. So we'll recognize that. Thank you. Thank you. Dave?
I'd like to thank everybody that attended one of the 3 workshops with the landscapers last week. I know there was a lot of work put in by the committee, and I would like everybody to thank the committee members that are here for the work they put in. I see Dell here, Frank, and one of the unsung heroes is Mabel. We had her do 3 different presentations, and she was jumping through hoops for the couple days ahead of time. In the background, everything goes real smooth, nobody knows, but the work she puts in, I just want to thank you very much.
Stand up and take a bow, Margot.
She is standing.
People you love.
All right, very good. Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Mabel. You do a great job for us. Thank you. I appreciate it. Alan, there's no treasury report today, is that correct?
Yeah, continue to monitor expenditures and all that, no report.
Okay. Well, I'm going to skip you. No, I'm just coming back from that angle. I'm meeting in the middle.
Then go to Frank.
I'm sorry, Frank. Go ahead.
Okay, as Rick Oswald mentioned, on February 27th,
Grow Incorporated, we had a meet and greet in the banquet room. It was very well attended. The executives from Grow, as well as the on-site supervisors who are dealing with our contract, were there. They detailed out how they intend to proceed with this year's pruning, addressed issues that everybody raised about last year's pruning. Hopefully we've got that all under control now. Things will proceed as well. It was then opened up to questions and forums. So a lot of questions asked by the membership. They were pretty thoroughly answered by the GROW or by the board members that were there. So it was a very effective meeting. I think we got a lot of information out, and I think people have a good understanding of it. Again, the only thing I can emphasize is that you be vigilant about looking at the job that they do as they do it, and that you would continue to report as fast as you can any issues that remain after they trim, so that we can get them redone in the 2-week follow-up. Other than that, it was a great meeting, very informative, and that's all I have on it.
Thank you, Frank. All right, Jack, the contract stuff?
Just an update on the first service contract. A meeting was held as requested by the presidents on March 3rd. There was interaction between the Federation Attorney Webb Melton, First Service, and the presidents. At the end of the meeting, it was asked for volunteers who would like to review any modification or changes that were made or requested. That meeting with those people who signed up will be held on March 12th, so they can review the changes. Once those changes have been reviewed and approved, then the contract will go out to the presidents for their approval, hopefully at the March meeting at the end of the month, the annual meeting for final approval of that contract. That's where that stands.
Very good, thank you. Takes us down to President's report. I really have very little to add to any of the committees. Thank you for your work and the efforts you do. Just a little rumor control. I understand that there's a conversation going on that I have joined the real world and I'm actually working, and the answer to that is yes. The negative side is I do not work for First Service and I do not work for Vesta. If you read your Federation bylaws, you find that's actually prohibited completely, and in their contract, I believe it's prohibited in contracts too. So that is true. But that rumor is true, which does limit my time, but it doesn't affect my ability to work well with a strong group and a strong board. So we're keeping that going forward. I will say on March 20th, though, we are going to host a special board meeting. I kind of dubbed it the Clear the Air Conference, because when I came on board 2 years ago, one of my purposes of being on this board was to get to know stuff, get to really know the inside, get to find out, get access. And here you do have access to stuff that you don't necessarily have access to out there. People make up a lot of stuff as if they do, but they don't. So we are going to do a Clear the Air conference on March 20th at 9:30 in the morning, and it's going to go from 9:30 to 11 in the Veterans Theater. It's going to cover the loan of 2017, stuff that we now know, insurance committees and insurance processes now that we know and you need to. We'll review a little bylaw change that occurred in 2012 and what resulted in a motion about fees on sales and rentals here and kind of what happened to it. We'll look at some reports, we'll look at some choices that were made by agents and carriers and what motivated those choices. We'll talk about Florida Statute 626.916 and how that may have been violated here. We'll discuss things that were done to you and things that were done for you. We are going to just kind of disclose, not with the intention of throwing anybody under the bus, but to help you understand where you are, what you got, why it exists, what's good, what's bad, and what we need to change moving forward in the future. That's what a community should do, and that's what a community should know. So that's where we're going to go. March 20th, 9:30, Veterans Theater. I invite everybody to join us. All right. That takes us to the unfinished business section, which we have none today. And moving on to new business, it does say 2020-2021 insurance proposal. I'll toss it over to Dan at this point. Rick, you'll be up next on the...
I pretty well said what I need to say in my committee meeting information. Like I say, the new agents are diligently working to review all of our policies. They've pretty much done that to give us benefit of what was good about the policies, what's bad about the policies, and what other kinds of coverage we should possibly have, and the cost for those. Excuse me. And we're hoping to have all of that together. We'll be talking with AMCAP, which is our current property insurance agency, and a company called Heritage, who was the company that was the $1.2 million reduction in our policy in 2016. And while they didn't get the business, they were the catalyst for causing that to happen. So we're going to be talking with them as well to see what they can offer us. And just moving along those lines, and as soon as we can get all of that together, then we will move forward. And I will say about fees, our prior agent was paid between $600,000 and $700,000 in commissions per year. Our new company will be charging us approximately half of that. I don't know what that is yet, but we're working along those lines. So we should see some improvement in our coverage, and we should see some potential reductions in our costs. I will also say that the insurance market, while it's been real soft for the past 15 years, is starting to, using their terms, harden up. Costs of insurance were anticipated to go up between 10 and 20% this year. Our Mac and Waltz said our property insurance would probably go up about 20%. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll continue to work through it and do the best we can.
Okay. Great, Dan. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. The next thing on our new business is the proposal from the Kings Point Community Promotions Committee. Rick?
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce Mark Neckes. He's a member of the Kings Point Community Promotion Committee, who, along with the rest of these individuals, I'd like to take this public time to announce my gratitude to all of them. And Nick would like to make a proposal to the Board of Directors at this time.
Mark? The mic is yours, right there.
This one's on.
Who says that?
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
On the committee, we were looking at,
Can you talk on this?
Talk to the board.
in the mic, at the committee.
And Mark, technically, as per rules, you talk to us.
Oh, okay.
Board meeting.
This is my first
I don't
time.
like to.
This is my first time doing this, so please forgive me.
You're good.
On the committee, one of our charges is to look at what we need to do in order to market to the seniors of the future. And that's the people that are turning 55, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. Because we realize that they're a whole different animal compared to who we are. So I did some investigation by calling one of my colleagues, who is one of the leading experts in consumer behavior in the United States and the world, to see if there is any study out there regarding the senior of the future. And he told me that there's nothing significant out there at all at this time. And that if and when I get it done, he'd like to see it. So what I'm proposing to do is to attempt to go to USF to see if one of their marketing classes would be willing to take on this proposal. And let me go over the proposal with you. We need to know what the 55 plus people of the future will be. How do we reach them? What are their likes and dislikes? What kind of marketing do we need to reach them? What kind of social and digital media will reach this group? What kind of amenities will they require? What kind of enhancements to to Kings Point will this require? What are they looking for in housing and facilities? What suggestions do we have regarding the branding of Kings Point, its logo design, and color presentation? How much are the seniors of the future willing to pay for all of that? What will our website need to do in order to attract them? What kind of advertising campaign can we develop? And who could be the spokesperson we could use that they could trust? I'm sure you've seen the commercial for mortgages with the guy from Blue Bloods and how he's a very trusting soul for our generation. Well, he's not necessarily a trusting soul for the next generation. So my thought is, if we do an advertising campaign, who could be the spokesperson that those people would recognize? I'm going to attempt to go to USF to see if any marketing class would be willing to do that. And if they're not, to go to some of the other universities in the area. It may be a little too late this year, but we'll work on it so that we can get this done.
Mark, will you just basically quickly tell us your background?
Sure. I've been teaching marketing for 45 years, both at the high school level and the college level. I've got numerous awards for doing that, and have done marketing in 11 different countries. So I have a little bit of marketing background. And my entire family's in it as well, so.
Thank you. Mr. President, I'd like to make the motion that the Federation Board of Directors approve the request of Mark Nichols, member of the Kings Point Community Promotions Committee, to contact such universities or colleges to determine the feasibility of a program designed to ascertain the wants and needs of individuals reaching the age of 55 in coming years. Also, if needed, an amount up to $1,000 be available for development of this program.
Seconded. I have a second. Any discussion here? Any discussion here, Alan? Go ahead.
I have a question. And actually, I'm going to ask Ginger to maybe just talk about, I know your background, you belong to an association, have done studies, and I don't know if you've done any studies to add or anything to, because I know you worked on the marketing committee before in terms of identifying, who's coming and who, and I'm wondering, can you add something or work with?
I don't know about add anything, but I love the idea. I think it's terrific, and in fact, I'm going to introduce myself after the meeting. I was actually in grad school at University of Tampa when we did the same thing with a marketing class, and we developed data about the fitness center, and that became information for what the board way back in 2011-12 used in part of the development of the 2020 Center. This is ideal, and I commend Rick and the committee and yourself for coming up with that. As far as information we have through the ICAA and Kim Dykewall and some other folks in the industry, I'd love to talk to you after the meeting. I think it's wonderful. And if I can be of any assistance in contacts up at UT or USF, I'd be glad to help. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Any other discussion? I concur that being on the closer to the 55 side of the coin, realizing that things are evolving, we have to appreciate and address all the things for the people that have been here and been for years and made this such a great place. But it has to evolve. Evolution has to occur. And we have to be in control and understanding of what that evolution is so we can do it right and do it intelligent. And I think something like this is definitely right on track, and I compliment the KPCPC, for coming up with that as a focal point and reaching out to the university so we can get the proper data, we get the proper research, and we get the proper legs behind it so we can get a correct and accurate information to make the decision with it moving forward. So thank you very much. Any other discussions at all? I'll call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mark.
All right. That takes us to good and welfare announcements. Anybody have an announcement of good and welfare?
We're gonna take a
Mike, you're gonna have to sit closer to the front. You always have a good announcement, so you sit closer to the front, no way around it. But it is a good entrance, thank you.
Just started planning to get that man in a shirt. Seriously.
Oh, I agree.
Well, you know, I always strive to make a good entrance.
Thank you.
What I can tell you was about coronavirus. Ginger is so elated. We've had several meetings on it. As a matter of fact, it was working until 6:30 last night with the state and county programs on it. There's a lot of things that are evolving as we go along, but I think it's important to note the community. The one thing that we can do is not to panic, and that is the one thing that will happen with people. There will probably be a rise in people that are affected, that get caught, but the thing is that we are more on top of it than other countries were. We're on it very quickly. As you can see, we're adapting. We've met with all the community leaders in Sun City Center, all of the facilities, and developed protocols for how we're going to handle it with visitors in the facilities because they could spread the contagion, and this could just get out of hand very quickly. So we are working to solve this. As Ginger said, washing your hands is probably the simplest thing you can do to stop it. And so doing that often will help. I wanted to let you know that we are also going to postpone the health seminar, the symposium, for April, just because we want to, out of the abundance of caution, the hospital would like to also just mitigate anything by just stopping that at this point, because there's too much we don't know and we don't want to get a large group together. But that has to be a business responsibility by each individual organization. But we do encourage people, we are working on it. We are working together as a community to take care of this. And because we need to support our own. And that's it, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
May I ask a quick question? I was just wondering, Judy Newsom Fairfield, why we don't have a copy of valuations in our insurance file already?
What?
Copy of the valuations already in our insurance file.
Okay, which evaluation?
The property valuations.
Oh, well, that's a good question that we'd have to address to.
I mean, I've seen old ones in my stuff I've inherited.
I've seen a lot of old ones, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that we'd have one.
We can ask our,
Yeah.
we had asked McMack and Walsh for those. We have a copy of the appraisal, but we don't have a statement of values. We had asked for that for 2, 3, 4 times, and it just hasn't made its way to us yet. And he's refusing to give it to us.
In all honesty, things do change. And, you know, at some point, if somebody doesn't provide it or we don't have it, we just go out and we'll do it, and that makes it current. And we're dealing with real numbers as opposed to speculative numbers at that point. So it's a good question. I'll check into it.
Would have been a starting point then.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Any other?
Before you adjourn the meeting, just so the members know, I know Ryan mentioned a special board meeting on the 20th. That will be noticed, and an agenda will be sent out to the membership, to the presidents. So I just asked Ma Bell, there's a 3-day requirement, so you will get the official notification of a special board meeting. It's just not announced today. You will get the official board meeting. The other thing that I would like to mention before we end this board meeting is today will be the last actual official board meeting that Frank will be attending because he decided not to run for personal reasons. And I would like, as a member of the board, to thank you for your time, effort that you put in stepping up to volunteer. So thank you very much, Frank, and good luck in the future.
Okay, thank you. Any other good welfare? Dave Tyson, you're standing up. Is that a stretch?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all right. All right, that motion to adjourn? So moved. You got to enjoy your retirement.